One.
How we doing, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of FSI's NASCAR DFS content. We're breaking down the Bristol Motor Speedway Dirt Edition. I am your host here, TK Nation 47, joined by Mega Roller 31. How you doing tonight, Andrew? And are you ready for some dirt?
Is it really going to happen? Don't break my heart. Because we had a truck race followed by a car race, but then we had a car race followed by a truck race. And now we have a car race followed by a truck race, but it could be a truck race followed by a car race. And I don't know.
So the scenarios over the past couple of days have been throwing us into just a stall. We've been trying to record this for the whole weekend, but every time we decide to get on and find a time, the time changes, right? So no heat races. So the field was set by points, and just like how it has been the whole season, except for Daytona. Yeah, this this race is going to be fun for the people that get to watch it, that are off work. I won't be one of them, unfortunately, and maybe I can get the DVR set and watch it when I get home, even though I'll probably know the winner when I'm following my lineups. But yeah, it should be a fun week, and we're going to do something a little different here. Instead of doing two separate videos, we're just going to have Mega talk us through a little bit of the truck race hopefully ahead of the cup race, so we get some of these guys that are running both events, so we can get them so we know what we have with those drivers that we have questions about. So take it away, Mega. Tell us a little bit about your truck strategy and some of your favorite plays.
Before I get to truck, I got to talk about this whole dirt thing. This is like the Olympic Committee coming to the downhill ski slalom team and saying, we're sorry. We couldn't produce enough snow, but don't worry. We're not canceling your event. We're still going to do it, but we're going to do it on water. But don't worry. You can still use your downhill skis. So basically, these cars and vehicles are not designed to drive on the surface. So the people find out about it, and what do? Well, some of them like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go water ski a little bit. And, they buy expensive equipment and go out against like some other people and learn how to water ski. Some of them say, you know what? We're small teams, they're small countries, and, we don't want to compete in this anymore. So why don't some of you water skiers come and, join us, and you guys can run on the water and your downhill skis and see how it works out for you. So I just think this is just going to be a disaster.
It has been.
I know, really. It's just like it's like trying to go water skiing on downhill skis, but we'll see how it works out. Now the trucks, I think, translates a little bit. It'd be probably more like, the hockey players that like ice skate, but also, go to the YMCA and they do it like on rollerblades. So I think these trucks are, besides the fact that they have windshields and, mud doesn't work very well on radiators and windshields.
All that, right?
Right. But I think it should. And here's the thing that's really important about the truck race. The truck race, we really need to have before the cup race, because the drivers from cup that are in the truck race, I think, are here to try to get experience. The first thing I want to say is that watch what the lineup is, because if this truck race ends up after the cup race, you might see people like Mark Truex and Kevin Harvick say thanks, but no thanks, because they really don't need to run it anymore. Mm-hmm. And I hope that does happen, because Stuart Friesen's wife is a really good dirt driver, and she didn't qualify for this event because of points. And I really hope that somehow she sneaks into the lineup, because she's a very good, the equipment's okay. And she's a very good driver. And I think that she was very reasonably priced when she was in the player pool. And I think she's like definitely someone that I would lock into my lineup. But anyways, so looking at this, Kyle Larson, no matter what, he is going to run this race. He wants to win this. He actually, when he was off last year, almost every other day, was just running dirt race after dirt race. So he's got so much experience. So he starts in 28th, and I think he's, somebody that you definitely need to lock into your lineup here. Don't worry about him running the cup race or what happens in the cup race. He's here. He's in a Nice truck, and we said, Nice trucks, it doesn't necessarily mean nice in French. It's, they've had their issues, but I think he knows how to take care of it. I think they'll do well. So he's one I'm really starting with. The other guy I'm starting with, and this is more in truck and not in cup, is Mike Marley. He's starting 38th. He's 6,900, and I think he's definitely a solid driver. So knowing Kyle Larson's kind of towards the back, and Marley's kind of towards back, you're going to need somebody to get up front early. So John Hunter Nemechek starting in the pole. I think he's a top 10 truck, a top 5 truck. He's done some dirt, but he's not like great at it. I think, again, one thing, and we'll talk about this when it gets the cup, is a lot of these people have to balance going out in this novelty event and doing and performing well, or do you try to survive it and move on because you're trying to win a championship in either a truck race or in cup? So I don't think Hunter Nemechek is really going to push it. Hill and Creed don't really have, who are starting behind him, don't really have much experience. So I see either Matt Craft and Stuart Friesen, who is an elite dirt driver, has done really well getting out there front, and maybe Grant Imfinger. He's got some experience too. Or Todd Gillian from the 13th position could get up there. So I think I'm starting my lineup with either Crafton or Friesen. I know a lot of people will be on Sheldon Creed. I've seen that in many articles. I don't get it. He's $10,000. I would rather pay 86 for Crafton, who I think is in a better spot in this Thor truck, or the $500 more for Friesen, that is starting with a little bit more place differential, that will probably get out there and dominate some point of this race. So there's lots of decent value plays out there. Chandler Smith is pretty good play. He's in a Colorado Busch truck. He's starting 21st. He's only 6,300. I think he's way underpriced. So he's one to look at too. And I would hesitate to play some of these cup guys like Truex and Harvick. I think they are at Bubba Wallace. Chase Briscoe I would take. I think he's definitely one that he's starting towards the back. He's 1,100 or so. He's pretty expensive. So, you might have to pick and choose, but there's definitely a path here to take 3 guys over 10K, and then to be able to plug in some guys that are in like the 5,000-6,000 range to make it work. So again, I'd hesitate on playing like some of these big name cup guys. Another person I really like here is Haley Deegan. She's only 5,500. She actually showed some pretty good speed. She's won ARCA races on dirt, so she does have some experience, and I think she's going to really fly under the radar. Starting 22nd, so she's definitely one that I could put there. So, put in like Marley and Deegan, and then you can stack like a Larson, Briscoe.
That's the cash route I was thinking.
Friesen. So you have somebody up top that could probably lead early. You've got some guys for place differential. You've got some value plays that have shown some speed in the limited practice they have. And that's definitely how I'd approach this race.
Absolutely. Awesome breakdown. As always, Mega, thank you for that. And it'll save us some time having to go through another video and all that. But pretty much couldn't say anything else to add on top of that. I'm looking forward to hopefully a truck race at noon and not after the cup race. Although I know that's what you're hoping for, to get Jessica in there. But I'm itching for some racing, and let's talk some cup. The big news of the day, other than the ponding that we had going on inside and outside the track, I did real quick check the update on the track, and it is packed, as they say in the dirt industry, that the track is packed, but the bottom tier lane that hugs the wall around the corners and along in the straightaways is a little soupy. So there is some work to do on the track when they wake up in the morning. But I think for the most part, the track is going to be ready, hopefully on a bright sunny day, no clouds in the sky, and a lot of wind coming in after the storm today. Hopefully dried out that ponding, and we get some racing in. But yeah, competition cautions going to be a big story for both the truck and cup race. Each for Cup, we have competition caution at lap 50. The stage will end at lap 100. Competition caution again at 150. We have a stage 2 ending at 200, and then the race will end at 250.
This
So
almost sounds
every
like a Bush Clash.
it does. It's
It's
such
like
a novelty.
550 lap sprints.
It's like we're having these heat races inside of one just giant race. It's
Except for they're not
essentially
gonna, like reverse the field and like all the crazy things that they do in the Clash, but
yeah, that fun stuff. But yeah, like I said, so there we go. You have two competition cautions at 2 stage ends, and then the race ends at 250. So we have heat races, 50 lap heat races to basically determine a winner. I think that's going to mix up the field a lot, actually, and I think
it's gonna stop one person from probably getting out there and completely dominating this race also.
it is.
But
And
they said that like any of the end stage laps and any of the competition caution laps will not count as official laps. So we're not
correct.
losing like part of the race because of all this. It's just kind of like the end of a quarter, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Only cautions for wrecks are going to count towards laps, I guess you would say. But yeah,
We won't
can
have
get into
any of those.
no, probably not. And if
No,
we do, it's going to be someone sliding up and getting stuck in the top lane in a corner or something silly like that, or getting an engine blown or something like that. But usually when that's the case, they can still make it down to pit road before they actually stall on the track. So probably going to be few and far between on when it comes to cautions. But we can get into some picks. Is there anything else you wanted to add on just general strategy here, or like talk about the racetrack? I don't know.
I think again, this is even worse because these are aerodynamic cars that are designed to run on asphalt. They're not designed to run on dirt. So I think it helps with the rain that the track might be packed down a little bit. If it was more of like a dusty, dry dirt, it'd be. But it's a track where the drivers that have been here and have been used to it before, it's more of like braking and here it's just a completely different style. So kudos to those who went out and tried to water ski to learn how to do this, but it just doesn't always translate perfectly. So we'll see. One big huge point that we need to make here is that Kyle Larson is starting on the pole, and he's probably the biggest favorite for this race. And again, we said he's got a ton of dirt experience and his year off last year and for other things, and definitely probably the biggest favorite to win here. However, he had to change his engine after one of the practices, so he's starting in the 39th position. He'll be scored for number 1. So opening up here, I had him in all the cash lines to get for this, and now I really have to wonder, is he safe to still play in cash because he's not going to get out there and dominate early? Now, granted, all these competition cautions are going to help this, and we saw Chip Elliott go to the back in the road race at Daytona and work his way up within like 5-10 laps, just cut his way through the field because he knew what he was doing through the course and the others didn't. I think that's going to be, he knows how to avoid, and the only thing is can he avoid getting dinged up in the cesspool of the 30s that starting back there in these compromised cars that are held together with bubble gum and duct tape. It's but can he get free and clear of those and make his way up front? So
it's still going to take time,
and you really got to wonder, like, are you going to spend the most amount of money on this guy, and it could pay off? Like, we've seen it happen so many times in truck and in Xfinity, where like an AJ Allmendinger, all these like ringers start at the back, and you're like, oh, will they be able to make a front, or they, get dinged by somebody beforehand, and they usually end up getting up there and dominating at some point in the race. So the strategy is this:
he will lead laps here,
right? So we got
that is going to happen.
Who's going to lead before he gets there? So
exactly, he's like it alters basically, like, instead of starting your lineups with Kyle Larson, you start with, maybe someone else inside the top 10. You feel as if they can generate some lead laps, some fast laps, because we know this mud's going to be slinging, and this packed clay dirt that they have going on is going to be more prominent on the cars behind the guys inside the top 10. So fast laps are going to be coming from either the guys starting in the way back, coming through the field, trying to use up whatever they have in this first 50 laps, or it's going to come from the guys with the cleanest cars. So that's how I would attack fast laps. But then once you get inside the meat and potatoes of the race, it's not going to matter. But it's only going to matter to the guys that are leading the race or inside the top 5 most of the day, or guys that are coming from the back that are, avoiding the major packs, and probably guys that are just a really good dirt track drivers. But yeah, the Kyle Larson news put a big hamper into construction. I still am going to have a decent amount of Kyle Larson. You can't attack this race as if he's a fade. That's just stupid. It's about, but you have to watch what you're doing, I guess you would say, when it comes to high dollar lineups. Is he going to be mega chalk, and is it maybe worth it to pay down and get more of a balanced build in GPPs? Let's get into that. Let's get into some of your favorite dominators other than the dirt track ringers. Anyone inside this top 10 sticking out to you?
I think Denny Hamlin showed that he had some speed in the practices. I think starting in the first position now with Larson in the back, I think he's the one that I would think would get out there. So, he's one that I consider 9,100 is not too bad. It's below 10K. I think he'll have some high ownership. Blaney and Kyle Busch are the ones behind him. Blaney doesn't really have too much experience with dirt. Kyle Busch has some, and he's aggressive. But it's Kyle, and Kyle takes so much time to get acquainted with. I'm surprised he's not running the truck race, but I don't think he wanted to, because I think he wants to run the ones at his favorite tracks. So
that he can win.
But I think if there was like an Xfinity or like an exception or something, that he would be out there, just because he's the one that really needs. And I think was hurt the most that they really didn't get to run like the heats and stuff, because he needs it to like get his car tuned in. Truex and Harvick, even though they're running in the truck race, the reason they're running in the truck race is they have no clue what's going on with dirt. And I think they're some of the ones that we were talking about where, and Blaney could be in this too, is these guys are competing for a championship. So they got to go out here, and I don't think they want to show out, but I think they want to survive it.
And that doesn't equate to DFS.
Correct.
That just screams 15th, 16th, and I'm taking my place in those. I don't think they're going to
get my stage points, finish the race, and move on to next week.
They're going to try to get inside the top 10 in this first stage, do what they can to try to get into a second stage opportunity and finish the race inside the top 20. And I don't think that's going to equate to a good DFS day. So I know they're cheap, and I think it's maybe worth it for GPPs, but not going to have a lot of Truex or Harvick.
Bowman is starting the 7th position. I think he's one of my favorite GPP plays up here starting at 7,700, and he's even better value on FanDuel. But he's one that I think could get ahead of these guys and do well, and even get up and lead laps. Byron, not so much. Austin Dillon has dirt experience. He and his brother Ty ran in dirt, but their stats are a little inflated because they had more resources when they were doing this. So their equipment, their team, and everything was so much better than their competitors that, of course, they won a lot. But was it like, if they were on an even play field, like if it was an IROC, where everybody had the same car and had like, the same advantages, would they have done as well? So, and he's priced up. He's 9,700. Like, you get so many guys, right around him that
I think he'll run pretty well.
Right.
I don't know how long he's going to keep up with, like, by lap 250, where is he going to run? I don't know. But, maybe in the first 100 laps, Dillon's a top 5 car. But
that doesn't give you enough points at 9,700 to justify.
Exactly. And now if he finishes inside the top 5 at 9,700, I think that could be a decent day. I'm wondering if that's, by lap 250, I think some of these better dirt track drivers and the variance that we try to account for, I think is going to push Dylan outside of an optimal strategy.
Right. Logano comes and Di Benedetto are right there after him at 10th and 12th. Again, I'm not high on these Penske cars. I don't think like they're really much experience with dirt. And I think, again, it's just survive and advance for them. Busher in between them, though, in the Roush Fenway car, he's only 6,200, which is a great price. If he fits into your cash build, I like it because I think some of these other stud guys that we talked about are going to settle down into the teens and just kind of, and I think he's one that could move up into the top 10, maybe even flirt with the top 5, maybe even get out there and lead some laps sometimes because he seems to have alternate pit strategies. He had some speed at Miami, which was aggressive tire track. I mean, it wasn't on dirt, but it's like some of the principles translate here. So he's one I like.
Pin corners. Yeah. They got pin corners. Yeah.
Then we've got a cluster here of Stenhouse, Newman, and Bell. Stenhouse, I think they have him priced at 10-2, which is super high.
Right.
And I think what they were thinking is that he has dirt experience and that with everything going on with qualifying and practice and stuff, that he would probably end up in like the 30s or 20s. So he'd be coming from the back of the field, but he's starting at 13th. So that for me, he's a GPP like play, but I could not play him in cash. Newman, on the other hand, he was supposed to race in the truck race, but he didn't have enough points to get into it. So he has dirt experience, but it was a long time ago. So I don't know if it's still even relevant from what he's done in the past. 69 is not bad. I think
we really needed to see him race that truck.
Yeah, I think he's a GPP play also. Like the price is okay, starting 14th. I can do that in cash if he's like last guy in, but I'm not like beating down the door to try to jam him in.
Sure.
Christopher Bell, on the other hand, is very.
This is my favorite play of the slate.
Yeah, he's a very good driver on dirt. He's 15th, and he's in very good equipment.
So, I saw him won at Eldora a couple years back when he was racing in the Xfinity series. He crushes dirt tracks.
Like he's
Eldora.
Oh, I thought you said Dora, like Dora the Explorer.
No, it's a racetrack, a dirt track in Ohio that Tony Stewart owns.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I believe they call it the Chili Bowl. I'm pretty sure that's what that's called. But him and Larson ride that. They do that dirt track every year, no matter what they're doing. I think Tyler Reddick's another guy I think that does that dirt track. Friesen's always in that track as well. But I've seen Christopher Bell go toe to toe on dirt before. You get a 1K discount. He's going to be coming, from a halfway of the distance that Kyle Larson's going to have to come from to get to the front. I think Christopher Bell is up front all day. And it's not even, I have no doubt in my mind. So I'm going to have a ton of Christopher Bell in my lineups this week.
I agree. And we'll get to like what my cash instruction is a little bit, but let's continue our breakdown. The next three guys are fades: McDowell, Chastain, and Suarez. Little to no dirt experience. Maybe Chastain, he's got a farm there with watermelons, so maybe he's run the tractor out through some.
He's going to be raking the dirt in between the stages.
Yeah, he's going out there fixing the track up, getting it ready for them to go racing.
Yes.
So, but other than that, I don't think he's really. Those guys are.
Suarez is running the trucks. If he does well in trucks, maybe he's a play.
If they fit, maybe, but they're just starting high. The price is right, but I'd say fade them. Bubba Wallace comes up next. He seems pretty expensive at 85. Again, I think he's kind of like Stenhouse, where they thought he'd be starting further back and get some experience in the truck, and he would be like a hot play, but starting 19th in a team that's still trying to figure things out. Keselowski starting 20th. I think people will be overweight on him just because of the name recognition starting 20th, but
and the price tag,
he's made it clear that he is not happy about running this race, and he'll be going through the motions.
Yep.
Now we hit a real sweet spot for value. Cole Custer.
Yeah, this is the area.
Yeah, I'm a roller. Cole Custer is the perfect package. He's 5,500. He's in a Stewart Haas Racing, which is good equipment, and he's got experience. So I think he's definitely a cash play, maybe even a lock at that price, and he's going to be very highly owned. If you want to get off of him, I think Priest would be another pivot there.
Yeah.
Not as talented, not as in good equipment, but if you wanted a little variance off the chalk. I think Almirola also with the name recognition. He's had a slow start to the season.
hmm
He's Stuart
He
Haas.
needs results, though. He doesn't have the ability to go through the motions though tomorrow. He has to get a result. So
Right.
he's going to be driving hard, unlike, say Keselowski, who's already won this year or has finished a couple top fives. Did Keselowski win this year?
I can't remember.
No,
We've had a new winner each week, so
no, I don't think he has. Or maybe he has, and I'm just an idiot. But yeah, Almirola is going to have to race really hard tomorrow. I don't mind him either.
uh,
Eric Jones.
yeah, I think he fits into that group also, but I think he'd be like the least out of them. Like Priest at least has some experience. He doesn't, and
Yeah.
so he's still a GPP player. I wouldn't say no. But the guy behind them, Chase Briscoe, he's
Oh yeah.
somebody that we can play in cash. He's just below 10K at 99. He's running in the truck race. I think he's like definitely a lock from his position and
Sure.
his experience here. Like he's been okay, but he's still. It just reminds me of when like the NFL draft when these college kids get to the pro level and they're just like, wow, the speed of the game is just like so much faster.
Yeah. He's
And
been adjusting. Yep.
really starting to try to adjust to that. But I could see him in cash if he fits your builds. I landed on him, I think, a couple times in some of my builds. But I am starting my lineups with the next guy, Chase Elliott.
Yeah. Same here. That was my first click.
Starting 26, and he showed some speed and promise in the practices. So I think he's one that definitely can get up into the field and at least pick up 10 place differential points. So and he's not around guys that are horrible either that scare me that he's going to get wiped out before he can get there.
And that's the thing. He's going to be coming through the field with Briscoe. He's going to be learning how to do this with guys like him and Reddick around him. I think he's in like a sweet spot. Price tag, starting position, price differential points, and then when it comes to being on the track, being around guys that know how to run dirt track. So I think it's great. Yeah, and even you said practice was good. So I'm loving the Chase Elliott pick.
So
no way we're going to get him under 9K. Yeah, again.
And then I'm adding either Larson and Bell or Larson, Bell, Hamlin, Reddick. Like I'm putting like 2 or 3 of them in with him, and then I'm hammering the 5K guys to finish up my line. So like the Custer, Priest, and I really like those builds. Or if you go like lower and throw Briscoe in there, then you can get up to the next guy that's coming up here, Kurt Busch at 7,800, who is also, in a really good position, starting 28th and in a good car with dirt experience that can get up there. But we skipped over Tyler Reddick, who is definitely another one that's gonna is a good dirt runner. He's got experience. On DK, it's hard though because he's 10.5, and I think he's efficiently priced. But you have to absolutely 100% lock him in your lineups on FanDuel. He is criminally underpriced on that site. So,
yeah.
But
I'm gonna have Reddick,
so it's like the two are almost kind of flip flopped.
Sure. Yeah, I'm playing more Elliott than I am Reddick, but I'm still gonna have some Reddick because he's definitely a guy that can lead some laps. Just
he's got the aggressive to.
Yeah. It's just maybe he doesn't dominate. I don't think he dominates, but at 10.5, he could easily be inside the top 5 at the end of the race. With
definitely place differential there. And like I said, on FanDuel, Elliott's not as much of a priority with pricing. You can still fit him in, but Reddick, you have to use him. It's just so cheap there. It's just
100% on FanDuel.
Yeah. So going down the line, Alfredo, no experience. The price fits, I can see, but I prefer to pay up the 700 more to get Custer. LaJoy, I can see him. He has a little bit of dirt experience. He should be able to keep his car clean, and there's enough questionable cars that probably will fade back behind him that he's going to be able to like at least hold his position. So if he helps open up things for you, Cody Ware, 4,600. He's a GPP. I don't like him as much as I like LaJoy. Friesen.
Sure.
Now here's where we run into the dilemmas.
Yeah, this is a tough call. One of the
right,
really elite dirt track drivers.
And we talked about pre-show, the TK and I.
Yeah.
If he switched cars with Brad Keselowski, we'd have a dream. Like this would be like awesome. You know, these guys that don't want to go out there and really do this, put them in the crap cars and give like some of these elite machines to these guys that could go out there and like
he could win it in a Keselowski car.
Exactly.
He's not going to win it in his car.
Just make the deal with Brad and be like, hey Brad, if you give up your car and this guy finishes, you know, higher than you, then we'll take that position. But if you finish higher than him in your in his jalopy, then we'll give you those points. So you can't lose here, buddy. But
yeah, I wish.
this is how you make it interesting. But
yeah,
anyway,
Friesen's definitely one of the better dirt track drivers. But 9,500 though, Mega,
it's steep. And
that takes you know, either one of Reddick or Bell away, and it's going to be hard to fit Larson in with, you know, Bell and then Friesen and then Chase. Like it's going to be really hard to do 4 of those guys. Like he's taking away from one of the guys that's already starting in the back with better equipment. So that's the dilemma here with Stuart Friesen. Now he's definitely capable of getting inside the top 15 though, and that place differential is going to be really good. So if you pick Kyle Larson and then you drop straight to the 9Ks and you skip over Bell, you could do, you know, Larson, Friesen, Elliott, and Briscoe. I think that you could still pull that off.
Yeah, and what you do is like if you build your cash line and then you want to throw in a GPP, then take out either like Larson or you know, one of these higher price guys, and then go up from like the Custer Priest Almirola to like a mid-range, you know, like Ryan Newman or somebody like that. So it will help you differentiate your lineup enough to, or I think actually Busher is probably the best pairing there, because if you go down from like say if like leaving the 1K off of like Reddick and you go up, you know, he's 6,200 there. So I think, you know, something like that could definitely be different.
That's the route.
If it works, then you've got so much leverage on the field, you're good. But continuing on, Quinn Huff, no. JJ Yaley, he's got some dirt experience, so I'll leave him as GPP, but 6,400 is, at least he's in a Rick Ware car. They seem to be somewhat reliable. The next 2 guys are actually ringers. They're very good on dirt track. Shane Galovic
and Wyndham.
Yeah, God bless you. And Chris Wyndham. Again, these guys, but their cars that they're in, we don't know, are they going to make it the full race? We've seen some mechanical failures with some of the other guys that have driven these cars in other races. So, and especially with the beating that these cars are going to take on this track, like maybe they have the knowledge of how to, like, you know, save the car and to drive it correctly, so it will lead to not overheating or not, you know, running into things or causing problems. Who knows? So definitely great GPP plays. They're a little bit higher than I would like them to be. Like we're talking 68, 700. So I mean, again, if you're dropping down with Friesen and, you know, you have like the extra money to go up, then I think you pair them with these guys. If you get the place differential, if it works out, it's a home run. But we're talking K or home run here. It's all or nothing with these guys. Blicky, friend of the show, he's 4,700. Doesn't have any experience, but if a couple guys wreck out before he does and he gets a couple of place differential points, then, you know, he's okay. That's only a DK. Like FanDuel, you get points for laps completed, so you got to make sure that your drivers are running the race or finishing the race. And most of these guys are like, anybody under 5K on FanDuel, like you got to ask yourself, do I really need to play them? Because if
Yeah.
they're not going to finish the race, and it's not going to help you to lock in like the top 4 studs and play the $2,000 guy, it
Sure.
just mathematically doesn't make sense. You got to pick guys that are going to make it to the end. Mike Marlar, like locked him into the truck racing, but here again, he's a speculation GPP. He's in the 66 car, which Timmy Hill drove, and has had mechanical problems and finished like 50 laps down almost every single week, not having
every week. Yep.
So it's not the
Yeah.
Whataburger car from Xfinity. So
No.
I don't know. Like again, it's tragic. I wish he was in like one of these other cars and these guys that don't care, and he could go there and we could see something amazing. He'd be out there competing with, you know, some of the top guys for this.
Yeah.
And finally we come to Ty Dillon, who has plenty of dirt experience, but again, he's in a car that's kind of questionable, and his price is 6,600. Even though he's not going to lose me anything, I think if you land on him in cash, if he's the last man in, then fine. You hope for the place differential points. So he's never going to get up there and lead the race, but
no,
could pick up like 5
He's not that good.
Right. If his bad car is better than the other bad cars, then, you know,
that's what you're hoping for.
Advantage you. But again, like
sure,
66 isn't as bad as paying like 72 or 74 for the other guys. So I can see him in cash, but again, I'm not like starting with like he and Elliott and then like putting the other guys in if I land on him. And
yeah.
Oh, hey, I got 6,600. Okay, Ty Dillon, let's see what you can do, man.
I think people that know Ty Dillon are going to pick him based on just knowing that he's raced in the Cup before and he's starting last. And we've always said this on other videos that you're starting last, you have nothing to lose. You have only things to gain, only points to gain. I mean, you're going to have some Ty Dillon, and I don't think it's a necessity as some of these other values can be down here, like we had talked about earlier. But yeah, that's the full breakdown, the full field. This is going to be a really wacky week. We got cores coming out beforehand. We'll do truck, then cup, mega. You'll have your. Do you have a sheet this week? Is that something you're working on?
Yeah,
I know that's going to be really hard with.
Yeah, we don't have projections, but what I will post is we will give our people at least what the plays are. So
yeah, we'll give you a cash chalk, high GPP, low fade option kind of thing, like that we do every week. So that's what we'll have for the Bristol Dirt. Mega, is there any last words to add while we wrap this up?
No, I was gonna give them a sneak preview.
No, fire away.
That's not it.
There you go.
Is it up there?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so
that's if you could detail
here's what
it out.
we do is we break down, you know, what we think kind of the ownership's going to be and what type of play it would be. Prime is like some of the ones that we like the best for both sites. The blue names are people that have had dirt experience, and the yellow ownership ones are cars that we kind of have questions on. So, you know, this is what we provide every single week for our people, and they usually have like a scoring projection on them, but again, with limited amount of data, it's very hard to do. So
yeah,
this is what we're providing. So most of the
awesome.
people we already talked about and gave you, it's just one snapshot there for you.
Perfect. And you can find a link to the Discord chat to find all of this cool info that you get from Mega and I. It is on our Twitter handle at FSI_DFS. You can follow Mega at MegaRuler31, me and myself at TKNation47. Like the video, comment below. Bear with us here in Bristol. We've made it to this point after 2 rainy days, and let's hope for some winning lineups. And Mega, good luck to you, and good luck to everyone else.
Yeah,
we'll see you next week.
Yep. One last thing before we go. There's 2 days left also for spring training baseball. It's free at FSI. McKinley and myself, like, we've been crushing it. We've won so much money.
Absolutely. Oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah, it has been. So take advantage of that. And then we start with the regular season on Thursday, and we're looking forward to a very successful year there. So come check us out.
Absolutely. Oh, 100%. You guys are going to have an awesome year. I'm looking forward to seeing the results day in and day out. So good stuff from you
No,
guys.
we're
Thank
off
you for
next
doing
week, right? Because they have an Easter break, I think.
For NASCAR, I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah, I think they are doing Easter break. I'm not sure, but
So
we'll
if you're
get back to
celebrating the
you.
holiday, have a safe time with your family, and we'll see you in April.
Absolutely. Take care, everyone.
Peace.